Hello, welcome back to another command block tutorial. Today's episode we are actually going to be in the Minecraft Preview Edition because we are making use of one of the new features, which is the shelf. Now, you can actually do this with any kind of shelf, it doesn't matter. Now, we also could have done this with like another item, but the shelf is perfect as it has three items that it can put on display, meaning that it is perfect to make a slot machine out of. And it's pretty fun because of course you can, mix and match any set of items of course. So these are the items I chose for my slot machine. Feel free to choose any item that you want. But we do have a decent amount of commands. Keep in mind, this is only in the preview as of the time that I am recording it. You might be watching this, or this is actually part of the mainstream Minecraft. And if so, congratulations on making it that far. But even so, you can make this in the current preview edition. One bug that I did notice with the shelves actually right now is that whenever you use replace item to change the items that are in these shelves, they're actually not going to display. And what you actually end up having to do is update them with a redstone block. So I have two observers facing into each other like this for this reason. Essentially, I don't know why, but whenever using replace items, it does not update the display. So I have to constantly power and unpower it, which is why it's kind of flashing here, in order to actually make it update the display. So keep that in mind. That is going to be a difference. Maybe by the time you're watching that, that bug is fixed, but that's the case for me right now, so keep that in mind. Just to show you what it looks like, if I just take away this observer and actually go ahead and gamble, I need an emerald to do it, give me 1 second. See, it's not going to display like it should. Like at all. It's just super buggy, and I don't know why that is, but yeah, I don't know, maybe it's a bug that they're aware of. I doubt it because this just came out, but yeah, that's the situation right now. You do need to be constantly updating it. Anyways, let's get into the commands. There is a decent amount, and the first things first, you are going to need a scoreboard. So we're going to type in scoreboard objectives add slot dummy. Type that in and you'll be good to go as far as the commands go. I'm going to bring it up on the side of the screen so you guys can see what's going on. We have three different things for each slot. So essentially, we're going to have slot 1, which is obviously the leftmost one, slot 2, the middle one, and slot 3 is the left one. So you're going to see on the side there's slot 1, 2, and 3, but there's also A, B, and then just a blank one. So slot A is going to choose a random amount for A between two set values. That's the amount of spins it's going to do per individual slot. Now the blank option basically just copies that number over. It's just a numerical thing. And as soon as slot A is selected, slot blank is going to copy that and it's going to slowly tick down. Every time it ticks down, it's going to add 1 to the B variance. Now the B is actually what's shown in the individual slots. Of course, once the individual B value reaches a certain amount, it's going to reset to 0. So once slot 1B equals 5, slot 1B is actually going to reset down to 0. That way it keeps going on a loop rather than going up infinitely. So that's the base functionality of how it's working. Every time we press the button, it's going to consume an emerald from the player. Then it is going to choose a random value between whatever you set. Then it's going to copy the value, it's going to spin that amount of times, it's going to loop between the items based on how many spins you have, and it's going to land on something. Now, it doesn't matter what combination it is, but if it lands on the same combination, like all three items are the same, then you're going to get a stack of emeralds. Of course, you can adjust the price to be whatever you want. I just a stack of emeralds for display. And of course, it will cost 1 emerald each time you play. So, let's get into the actual commands. It's a lot of scoreboard stuff. Just make sure you copy this exactly. So, yeah. One thing I am going to mention, I have two sets of coordinates here. The first one with Y64, that is in reference to the actual shelf. If the Y level is 63, that is in reference to the button. So, of course, you are going to need to change the coordinates of whatever you're using to wherever your slot machine is. Just keep in mind, if you ever see Y64, it's the shelf. If you see Y63, it's the button. Make sure your coordinates align in that same way. So, First command, we're just looking, is the button pressed? If so, we're going to give slot 1A a random number between 5 and 9. That's how many different items it's going to cycle through. So it's going to be a random amount of cycles each time. Then we're going to do the same thing, except this time with slot 2A, and it's going to be a higher number. That way slot 2 spins for longer than slot 1. Finally, slot 3A, same deal, higher number, so that way it spins more times. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to make the slot 1 equal to slot 1A. So it's going to copy the number from the randomizer to the actual value that we're going to be doing the math with. Then, same deal, copy slot 2A onto slot 1 whenever the button gets pressed. Finally, copy slot 3A into slot 3. So that's just going to set the random values and copy the number of spins over to the math that we're using. Finally, we're just going to make it to actually take an emerald from the player if it just so happens that the player has one. That way it actually costs an emerald to play this game. I should mention that none of these commands are going to work in this row unless the player pressing the button actually has an emerald in their inventory. It doesn't have to be in their hand, but it does have to be in their inventory. Alright, next up, this is where it gets a little bit trickier. So what we're going to do is if slot 1 is 1 or higher, then it's going to remove one of itself. What that just means is that every time it's just going to tick down, right? So over time, and this is, I should have mentioned, on a 4-tick delay. I also forgot to mention the previous one is on a 20-tick delay. Only in the repeating commands, none of the chains. But on a 4-tick delay, it's just going to remove 1 from slot 1, so it's just going to tick down over time. Same is going to be true for slot 2. Same is going to be true for slot 3. One final thing that I actually did forget to mention, this is going to affect a lot of commands. You're going to see facing direction for button press bit equals true. If your commands are not working, you got to change this number. This is relative to the direction of the button. And I don't remember what the actual direction numbers are. Just keep changing this number until it starts working and actually detecting your button, because if you don't have it in the same orientation as me, the number 4 isn't going to work. So, sorry I didn't mention that earlier. I'm sick, so my tutorial quality is down a little bit, but I just wanted to get this out for people who wanted to mess around with it. Anyways, same deal. This is going to have slot 2 tick down over time. Finally, slot 3 is going to tick down over time. Same deal. Next up, we're going to actually add slot 1B. So this is the actual item number for the slot. So if slot 1B is higher than 1, then we're going to, if slot 1 is higher than 1, we're going to add 1 to slot 1B. This means it's going to tick up for the actual item that's in the slot. Next thing, slot 2B is going to go up if slot 2 is higher than 1. Slot 3B is going to tick up if slot 3 is higher than 1. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, next up what we're going to be doing is we're going to check if it actually is going to be able to reset. So if slot 1B, that's the actual item, is 5 or higher, it's going to reset down to slot 1B to 0. Meaning that's going to reset, it's going to go in a cycle, and that way it's not going up and not displaying blocks that it doesn't actually have. So slot 2B, same deal, except we're actually going if it's 6 or higher. Because one of the things that we're doing is that there's actually less items in slot 1 than slot 2, and there's even more items in slot 3. So that way it actually filters the odds to make it so you feel like you're going to win, but you actually have a lower chance of winning than it even looks like you have. Because slot 1 is only going to display these first 5 items, right? Whereas these higher items are only going to be in the higher slots. So that's what we're doing here, just so you know. Alright, so once again, same deal. If it's 7 or higher, we're going to run slot 3B. Okay. Next up, this is just going to be playing at the coordinates with a volume of 10. So these 3 right here, these are the coordinates, the 10 and the 1. They're separate. Copy that as you see it. The other 3 replaced with your personal coordinates. This is just going to say if the slot machine is still running, go ahead and play this bit noise. Next up, if slot 1 matches 1, then we're going to play the note.chime noise. That means that the rotation is finished up. It's going to play a special noise because slot 1 has finished. Same deal. Once slot 2 finishes, we're going to do the same deal. It's going to play a noise. And finally, once slot 3 finishes up, we're going to play a special noise. That way it has a special chime once each slot actually stops. Now, the last 3 sets of chains, they're a little bit tedious, but these are just the actual item displays. So they're not all that hard, it's just a bit tedious. So I'm not going to go, I'm going to explain it once, and then you guys are just going to figure it out from there. I will show every command, but I'm not going to explain every one because they're all the same concept. This is just saying if slot 1B matches 0, we're going to actually replace the slot container with the emerald. So that's the first option. Option number 2, if slot 1B equals 1, we're going to replace it with redstone. Slot 1B equals 2, we're going to replace it with raw gold. And you get the idea. If it is 3, magma cream. 4, echo shard. 5, slime ball. One thing I will notice, or one thing that I will mention, however, is that the items should be the same. So, for instance, for all 3, you want 0 to be the emerald. You don't want to switch the numbers in the items. You want to make sure they're the same for each slot, because that's going to deal with how we would detect winning. So for the second one, slot 2B, replace it with an emerald. And I should also mention, too, that we want to make sure we have slot container 1 here. This is going to replace the middle slot rather than the first one. Same deal. If it's 1, give it redstone. If it's 2, give it raw gold. 3, magma cream. 4, echo shard. 5, slime ball. And then this one's new. I actually have this. Wait. There we go. Fixed it. I had a typo. Ignore that. Alright. Secondly, I will mention these are also on 4 tick delays. Same deal. Once again, we're just going to have the slot 2, so change this number to 2. But if it's slot 3 equals 0, go ahead and give it emerald. Slot 3 equal to 2, give it redstone. Sorry, slot 3 equal to 1, give it redstone. Slot 3B, is it equal to 2, give it raw gold. Slot 3B equal to 3, give it magma cream. Slot 3B equal to 4, give it an echo shard. Slot 3B equal to 5, give it a slime ball. Slot 3B equal to 6, I have a typo here, give it a diamond. And then finally, slot 3B, should have this equal to 7, give it a resin brick. So, nothing too complicated there. Hopefully that all makes sense for you guys, and that's going to be the majority of it. We just need to get to the actual reward. So what we're doing here is we have a simple repeating command block, no 0 tick delay. What it's checking for is slot 1B equal to slot 2B, and is slot 1B equal to 3B. That means are all 3 slots on the exact same number. If so, we also want to make sure that slot 3 is equal to 0. That means it's not in the middle of its animation and they happen to line up, but when it actually finishes the animation, are they all lined up? If that's the case, we're just going to do a test for it A. So that's just going to make sure all the scores are what we want it to be. If that's the case, it's going to give us a positive outcome, which is going to go right into this comparator, right into this impulse command block. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to, at the actual slot machine coordinates, remember that's Y64, we're going to run the structure slot load. Now what you're going to need to do is give yourself a structure block and a structure void. You're going to have a structure block save a 1x1 area called slot reward, just like you see here. We're going to put a structure void right here, and then you're just going to toss in a stack of emeralds. Then you're going to save it. Now you can change it to be whatever you want. I chose a stack of emeralds. Maybe you want a custom enchanted sword. You could do that. It's up to you. But that's what you're going to do. And so basically, if all the slots match up, then we're just going to structure load this in right where it is here. The reason we have it in a structure void is that's going to load the entities without destroying any blocks. Then we're going to play on a 0 tick delay, just a chime noise. Then on a 4 tick delay, we're going to do the chime noise again. 4 tick delay, chime noise again. 4 tick delay, chime noise again. This just plays a whole bunch of bells if you actually get a win. So that is all that there is. Just to show you one more time, I have a thing here that's going to automatically give me a win, just so you can see what it looks like again. So you guys heard the series of chimes, and then of course the emeralds spawn in. So that's how it all works. Anyways, I apologize for the quality of the video. It's a little bit rushed, and also I am kind of sick, so the audio quality is probably not as good. And also, I don't know if I have to do different settings for the preview edition. Obviously, I left the shaders on. Normally, I don't record with shaders. Let me know if you guys want me to keep the shaders. Not the shaders, whatever Minecraft's custom shader thing is called. I forget what it is. Anyways, if you guys want me to record with that in the future, do let me know. Although it does make my skin look a little bit odd. Anywho, like I said, I wasn't really planning on making this video, but I just had the idea to make it, and I wanted to make it, and then I made a short. People really seem to like the short, so I'm just making the tutorial super quick. Also, it's going to be a little bit before I come out with part 2 of my radioactive mutant mobs and radiation zone project that I'm working on, so keep an eye out for that. I don't know. Goodbye.